Thank you. So before I begin, I'm going to start with a question. How many people out there have goals and objectives and things they want to accomplish throughout their life? All right, everybody, right? And everybody has more than one, multiple. And the topic of this talk is about a power that if you apply it to what you want to achieve will absolutely help you get there. And it'll help you get there easier, faster, and with a cleaner runway. The power is focus. If you focus on what you want to achieve, you can achieve great things. And the power of focus is not just eliminating like multitasking and doing one thing at a time, which is obviously important. But in order to truly focus, you have to have great clarity and great purpose in what you're trying to do and achieve and do it every single day. So the first thing you need to do to harness the power of focusing is leverage a team. It's a lot easier to achieve your goal if you can leverage a team or use other people to help you get to where you want to go. And the team I'm talking about today can be a business team, it can be a sports team, it can be a social club, it can be your family or personal things that you want to get done. So it's not just in a business context, it applies to all teams equally. And a team is kind of like the sun. And the sun is 73,000 miles away or so, and it puts out a ton of energy. By the time that energy gets to the earth, it's kind of diffused, the energy's going in all different directions. There's a little bit of energy left to heat the earth and maybe warm your face on a summer day, but it doesn't achieve much more than that. But if you focus that energy, focus that light, that power that comes from the sun through a lens or towards a common goal with great clarity, that team or that power of the rays of the sun going all over the place can achieve something even greater. And you can do it with less power. So you could say, look, the sun can burn, it can create an image, it can achieve great things if you were really close to it. But as it gets to the earth, it loses that power. And so by taking, you can take low power energy. By focusing, you can end up coming out of the other end with very precise and high-powered energy that'll achieve what you want to achieve. And if you're a leader, it's easy to say too, okay, I'm going to take my team, make sure they're all focused on going the same direction. That seems quite obvious. But what's not maybe as obvious is if you're building a team and you're in the process of creating that team or adding to that team because you're in a high-growth mode or whatever it might be. The key there is to make sure you build a team or add people to the team who are already aligned or already focused on the same thing you are focused on. So if you try to hire somebody who's trying to swim the other way, it's just going to disrupt the whole organization and slow you down. So align and focus the whole team on one thing as you're adding to the team. Most important, almost more important than the skills or the individual knowledge that they bring is that they're actually aligned, focused on the same objective as the whole team. After you align your team or leverage a team, the next most important thing to do is to focus consistently every single day. And one of the easiest ways to make sure you're focusing every single day consistently is to use a to-do list. Now, to-do lists have been around forever. They're somewhat simple. And it's simple to write a to-do list. It's a lot harder to master the to-do list or to accomplish the to-do list. And so what I recommend is you start with 3 items every single day that you want to accomplish that are going to get you to your goal. And they're incremental steps that are the most important things to work on. And you write them down, in order of what's important. Not just 3 things you have to get done, but what is the most important thing to get done that day, second most important thing, third most important thing. And once it's written down, what happens to a lot of us is you have that to-do list, but you get to work, you get to the event you're going to, you get involved with your family, and something else comes up. So you put that objective off to the side, you help someone who's doing something, and then lo and behold, it's 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and you got to get back to your to-do list, and you're out of time and out of energy. And it either doesn't get done or it doesn't get done the way you wanted it to get done. So you need to start with the most important thing and don't work on anything else until that thing is done. And it's extremely hard to do, but if you can do it, you'll completely be able to get to your goals easier, faster, and with a clearer runway. The next thing to do is, once you have your to-do list, is making sure that you're working on what is most important. How do you know what's most important, and how do you keep from being distracted? The number one power to leverage in not being distracted is the power of no. All right, hey, can you help me with something? No, I don't have time today. Or getting distracted by yourself. And actually, what happens is it's harder to say no to ourselves than it is to say no to somebody else. And we might help somebody else, but we all have these big to-do lists that are in our lives, things we want to get done for the family, for the kids, for people we know, clubs, whatever that environment is we're trying to achieve. And we're going to end up working on things that are not important to what we're really trying to achieve. So saying no to ourselves, saying no to our own objectives, or not objectives, but saying no to our own tasks, and making sure that we only say yes to those things that are the most important. One of the ways I like to look at it is my life to-do list is kind of like my master backlog file. And every day I'm going to load my daily sprint with just those things that are important. And not only those things that are important, but what things are the most important to get done. And say no to everything else until those important things are finished. How do you determine what is the most important thing to get done? The way I like to look at it is, what is the value of achieving that task? What do you get by achieving it? But also, what's the cost if you don't achieve that task? And then looking at the net difference, and that whatever that has the greatest delta is probably the most important thing you need to get done. There might be something that has a big payoff, but a very, very small risk if it slides. But if there's something that's really, really important and also has a huge risk if you don't get it done, that's what probably needs to happen first before you go on to something else. And don't confuse urgency with priority. And don't let others make their either lack of planning or their urgent needs your priorities. Stick to what you need to do to achieve your objectives, and that way you will achieve those objectives. One of the quotes I like to reference to kind of bring into clarity is this quote from Bruce Lee: "A successful warrior is an average man with a laser-like focus," which is completely true. A good team, a team with the right talent, can beat, if they focus on what they're trying to achieve, they can beat the big powerhouses. I think we see this every day with startups and entrepreneurial endeavors that can kind of outmaneuver, outpace the big conglomerates to either get to market or to innovate at a faster pace. And that's not to say the big guys can't do it, but it's extremely challenging to bring that entrepreneuric, small team, laser-like focus into those bigger companies. And if you're in one of those companies and you can make your group, your team seem like a startup with that focus, with that clarity, you'll overachieve the other teams for sure. So if you apply your focus superpower, you're going to achieve great things, you're going to be successful, you're going to change the world. And remember, with focus, it becomes easier, it becomes faster, and you have a clearer roadway to get to where you want to go. And so I have just another second here before my time is up, and I'll share a story that comes to mind. It was the very, very first time I learned the power of focus, and actually maybe I learned the power of what happens if you don't focus. So it was my first job. I moved to Boston. I had just started with this company. It was Thanksgiving time of year. Everybody I knew went home to their families. I didn't have enough money, so I stayed back, and I was there alone in the apartment I was renting. And I thought, hey, no big deal. I'll just get a pizza, watch the Lions, and I'll have a fine Thanksgiving. Well, that morning I was missing and kind of wishing I had gone home and some of the traditions for Thanksgiving. So I decided I'm gonna cook a Thanksgiving turkey at the last minute. So I scramble, I take the tea, go get a turkey, bring it back, start prepping it, throw it in the oven, actually get it in the oven before the Lions game started, and watched the Lions game, had a couple of beverages. The Lions actually won that year, so just that by itself makes maybe somewhat of a good story. But the game ends, and I look in the oven, and the timer goes off, and the pop-up, it was when the pop-up turkey timers had just come out. I open the oven, I look in, and actually it turned out pretty good. The turkey was golden brown, the timer was done, took it out, carved it all up, ate it, and it tasted really good. I was kind of surprised and proud of myself. But when I was done, I started to carve the turkey to put it away for leftovers. And when I got to the middle of the turkey, I realized there was like this plastic goo stuff in the middle of the turkey. And I guess I didn't know it, but actually they put in the middle of a frozen turkey, there's like a gravy pack and some giblets and some other stuff that's in there. And the warning label I didn't read, I completely ignored it, wasn't focusing, and I thought I poisoned myself. I actually called Butterball's hotline and thought maybe, did I do something wrong? Am I gonna be okay? They said fine. And I wish I could remember whether or not the warning label that tells you that there's stuff inside the turkey was there before or after I called. So I don't know if I'm that person that caused them to put that warning label there, but it is there now. So remember the focus so you don't kill yourself and achieve your goals. Thank you.